What if I told you the AI boom powering your favorite apps could quietly raise your electric bill even if the data center isn't built yet? From Minnesota to Maryland, mega facilities are sparking protests, straining old grids, and forcing cities to choose between tax revenue and quality of life. Today, I'll show you how data centers really work, why communities are resisting, and whether shifting this growth to places like the Middle East or China's breakneck build out could reshape the global tech map. We'll break it down like this: what data centers do and why AI made them explode, how much power they draw in real numbers, the three ways they can raise your bill. Case studies: Minnesota pushback, Texas stranded wind fix. Should we build them here or overseas? China's sprint and what it means for US competitiveness. The real local economics, taxes versus jobs, and what towns should demand. 1. What is a data center and why AI made them explode? A data center is a factory for compute, racks of servers, fat network pipes, industrial cooling, and massive power gear. It runs your cloud storage, streaming, banking apps, and now AI training and inference. They're not like warehouses, they're heavy industry for bits, and they're among the most energy intensive buildings we make, 10 to 50 times the electricity per square foot of a normal office. AI poured gasoline on this demand. The International Energy Agency projects data center electricity could double to approximately 945 terawatt hours by 2030, with AI optimized facilities driving a big chunk of that growth. That's more power than some entire countries use today. 2. How much power are we talking? In the US, data centers used about 176 terawatt hours in 2023, around 4.4% of total electricity. Some forecasts say that could hit approximately 12% by the late 2020s as AI scales. Think about that. One sector eating a tenth of the grid. At the facility level, hyperscale campuses can draw 100 to 200 megawatts continuously. Do the math. 100 megawatt times 24 times 365 equals approximately 0.88 terawatt hours per year, the load of a small city. Utilities and grid operators are now planning tens of billions in upgrades just to serve this new demand. One major utilities plan alone tops $73 billion by 2030 to handle new data center load. 3 ways a data center can raise your bill. Mechanism number 1: grid upgrades. Substations, transformers, new high voltage lines. Someone pays. If a special tariff or cost sharing deal isn't airtight, those costs can spill over into residential rates. Mechanism number 2: capacity set asides. Even a planned center can force the grid to reserve capacity and finance upgrades. In parts of the PJM market, analysts estimate residential bills rising about $16 per month tied to speculative data center growth. Maryland even pressed pause on new allocations. Mechanism number 3: peak demand and price pressure. Big always-on loads reshape peak curves. Regions like Phoenix and Chicago have already seen steep price moves as new large loads crowd limited infrastructure. Regulators are now debating who should shoulder the bill, tech giants or everyone else. 4. Case studies: community backlash versus smarter siting. Hermantown, Minnesota. Why so secretive? A proposed hyperscale campus, millions of square feet, just cleared a key rezoning vote despite packed rooms of opponents worried about power, water, noise, and costs. Residents blasted NDAS and asked for tougher environmental review. City leaders touted long-term tax-based growth. This is the new normal. Transparency, trust, and who pays for upgrades are flashpoints. South Texas. Turn wasted wind into compute. In Willacy County, a 166 megawatt project aims to soak up stranded wind that can't reach demand because the transmission lines aren't there. As a flexible load, it can ramp with grid conditions, reducing curtailment and avoiding long transmission builds. It's one playbook for aligning data centers with renewables at the source. Bigger picture: antitrust and power access. As tech giants secure massive long-term power deals, enforcers are eyeing whether energy access itself could become a competitive bottleneck for the AI economy. Expect scrutiny of who gets the juice and on what terms. 5. Should we build them here or in the Middle East? Pros of building in the US: proximity to users, low latency, rule of law, mature interconnects, skilled labor. Cons: higher siting friction, slower permits, older grids needing costly upgrades, NIMBY risk, water, cooling constraints in some regions, Middle East feasibility, cheap land in some zones, abundant solar and potential PPAS, fewer nearby neighbors. But ambient heat raises cooling costs, water can be scarce, and transocean latency matters for US users. Net net, some AI training might move to lowest cost megasites abroad, while latency sensitive inference stays closer to end users. See how Italy, for example, is wiring big sites straight to the high voltage grid or plants to bypass weak local lines. Different region, same principle, connect big loads where the grid is strong. 6. Will China's build-out leave the US behind? China's data center power use has been climbing fast, and planners are tying AI infrastructure to national energy strategy, pairing compute with new generation and long-haul lines. If the US can't scale grid capacity and speed up siting, more compute could shift overseas, along with influence over core AI infrastructure. Meanwhile, US forecasts show data centers alone could approach approximately 12% of electricity this decade. Without smarter planning, costs and delays mount and projects go elsewhere. Bottom line, this is now a geopolitical race for electrons, cheap, reliable, preferably clean ones. 7. The local economics, taxes versus jobs. $1 billion campus sounds huge, but once it's built, headcount can be shockingly small. Dozens, not thousands. Communities love the construction jobs and commercial tax base, but residents ask, is the trade-off worth it if my neighborhood gets the noise, the substation, or higher rates? That's why modern deals hinge on cost sharing. Developers funding grid upgrades upfront, transparent water, cooling plans, and community benefits tied to performance. This tension in Minnesota, Maryland, Virginia, and beyond is exactly what's driving today's hearings and headlines. 8. What smart towns demand before saying yes. Who pays? Developer funds all required grid/water/sewer/road upgrades, so residents aren't the backstop. No phantom load. Tie interconnection to real timelines and penalties so reserved capacity doesn't inflate bills. Environmental guardrails, transparent water use, cooling tech, noise/heat plans, and monitoring. Community benefits, local hiring, training, and predictable tax/PILOT payments, not just promises. AI is amazing, but megawatts aren't free. If we want the upside without bill shock, we need smarter siting, cleaner power at the source, and ironclad cost sharing. Tell me in the comments, should your town welcome a data center and under what rules? If you found this useful, hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who loves tech and hates surprise electric bills.